Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Edasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. Welcome to all to participate in this new type of celebration. Celebration what? Celebrating our Adi Shankaracharya's Jayanti, Shankara Jayanti. As we all know, today is Shankara Jayanti, and we are not able to meet in person, but we'll make the best use of it by celebrating his Jayanti this way. What we're going to do is first, I will take a couple of minutes in invoking Bhagwan's blessing by chanting a couple of verses of one of the famous stotram. And then afterwards, Sushmaji is going to talk to us in terms of his glory in the form of different stories also. So let us all join together and enjoy the celebration of our Shankara Jayanti. And the sloka what I'm going to chant is called Totakashtakam. Ashtakam, 8 verses. And Totakashtakam is the stotram composed by one of his direct disciples, Totakacharya. Totakacharya was one of those very dedicated disciple of our Adi Shankaracharya ji, and he composed this 8 verses. And these 8 verses are so melodious to chant. And of course, the import of that is so good. It highlights the various aspects of our Adi Shankaracharya ji, and so touching also. How a disciple sings about the glory of the Guru. So the first 2 verses only I'm going to chant out of the 8 verses, but that will give you an idea of how that the entire stotram is composed. And the first verse, let me just briefly tell you the meaning also, so that you'll be able to enjoy more. And the first verse, Totakacharya ji says, among all the preceptors, O Guru, you are the one who is the knower of all the scriptures. As we know, our Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, he is touched all the scriptures. He is mastered, and his bhashyas, especially on the Upanishads, what he has written, is unparalleled even today. At the age of 32, within 32 years itself, he has done so much of marvelous work in contributing in from various angles. And that's why he's called Avatar of Bhagwan Shiva also. So that's why here Totakacharya is saying that you, among all the best preceptors, you are the one who know all the scriptures, and you are abode of truth, which is the main theme of Upanishads. And like that he goes on, and then he says, may you become the sole refuge for me. This is the line what he uses at the end of every verse. May you become the sole refuge for me. And the second verse, what he says is, you are the ocean of mercy, you're full of compassion. And I am suffering from this world of change. This world is actually hurting me. So, oh Guru, you are full of compassion. You are ocean of compassion, and I am being hurt in this world. So, give me refuge. You are the knower of the supreme bliss. So, may you become the sole refuge for me. Like that, it goes on. And each verse highlighting different aspects of our Adi Shankaracharya ji. So let me chant the first two verses. Totakashtakam. Vidita kila shastra sudha jalade mahitopanishad katitarthanide hridaye kalaye vimalam sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshikame Sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshikame Sharanam Karuna Varunalaya Palayama Bhavasagara Dukkha Vidunayudam Rachaya Kilasa Darshana Tattvavidam Bhavashankara Deshikame Sharanam Bhavashankara Deshikame Sharanam. Like that, the verse goes on. And let's continue the celebration. Now, Sushma ji will talk to us in terms of the various stories connected with Adi Shankaracharya ji. And over to Sushma ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. As Shivaji was saying, I'm going to bring out some unique aspects of Adi Shankaracharya, who has contributed the maximum of all, more than any other masters, and way more than that. In fact, he was born at a time when Hinduism was at its maximum decline, not alone because of the foreign countries' invasion, and not alone because other religions came in, but because of our internal misunderstandings of our scriptures. People, Hindus were more into the Purva-Mimamsic aspect of our Vedas, which talks about all rituals. They believed it is karma, action, that takes us to liberation. Because it is as if they went only till the end of Karma Kanda of Vedas. And with the result, there were a lot of superstitions, wrong practices of Hinduism, misunderstanding of the principles of Hinduism, and so on. So he was born. Let me share some slides with you. He was born in southern part of India, in Kerala, to Shivaguru and Adyambal. Family was quite a well-to-do family, but extremely dharmic, very much into the dharmic principles of Hinduism. They were unhappy because they did not have a child, so they did a lot of prayers to Bhagavan Shiva, and it is said that he appeared in their dreams and blessed them, saying they will have a child. Either it gave an option, either a very brilliant, extraordinary child, but will have a short life, 16 years old, or lot of children, very ordinary children. They opted for the first, extraordinary child, brilliant. That's what every parent would want. And the child was born in actually in Adi Shankaracharya's mother's, Aryambal's maternal home, um, which was, and the house is still there in Wayanad, and this photo shows his house. Shankaracharya's maternal home where he was actually born, and that house was very fortunately for Chinmaya Mission was bought by our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda when he was alive. And now, and they have maintained even the room where Adi Shankaracharya was born, even the bed on which he was born is still maintained. And it is so very beautiful. One should visit there. And so this is that ancient house. That is where the current SIF, Chinmaya International Foundation, is working out of. And also, not alone birthplace of Adi Shankaracharya, it is actually birthplace of our Chinmaya University, Chinmaya Vidyapith was started from here. Now, of course, being spread to Cochin to a very large facility. And so coming back to Adi Shankaracharya, he was an extraordinarily brilliant child. By 7 years old, he had actually learned all the Vedas. It is said he just had to look at a page to observe the content of the page. He had to hear something only once. And from his very young age of 3 years old, he could speak Sanskrit. And from that young age, there are lots of miracles that he could do, which ordinary people cannot do. It is firmly believed that he was an avatar of Bhagavan Shiva himself. And if we really go through his task that he has accomplished, no human being, ordinary human being could have achieved. Going ahead, at a very, very young age itself, he had been asking his mother permission for becoming a sannyasi, to take up sannyasa. At one stage, his mother had to permit him, give him permission. And as I was saying, no ordinary, he was an avatar, no doubt about it, because I'll give you just one of hundreds of instances. I don't have time to tell. Maybe we'll find one day we will talk about all his life history. Just one example of when he was a brahmachari, not yet become sannyasi, when he was in Kerala, he went for bhiksha. That is the tradition. So he went to a house, a kind lady's house, and said, Bhiksham Dehi, asked for bhiksha. And that Devi came out, and generally she always keeps something. And that day she actually had nothing because she did not have anything, and she was also fasting. And then she suddenly remembered there was one gooseberry she had kept to break her fast. Then she said, 1 second, and she went in and brought that one gooseberry. Bhagavan knew, Adi Shankaraji knew as a child himself what was happening. He was so touched that he invoked Mahalakshmi there, right there, and came out this stotram called the Kanagadhara stotram that we chant in our ashram. Angam Hare Pulaga Pushanamastrayandi Pringanganeva Mukula Paranam Tamalam Angi Krida Kila Vibhudira Pangalila Mangalyatastu Mama Mangala Devadaya. And it goes on, there are about 32 slokas. It is said Lakshmi herself appeared and dhara, a shower of gold coins were presented to this wise lady. So that's just an example. She was indeed an avatar of Bhagavan. And very soon, when at about 8 years old, he got out of the home to take up sannyasa. He wanted to take up sannyasa under a guru, because not that he had to take up sannyasa and have show, not for that. Um, he went in search of a guru by walk to northern part, reached Madhya Pradesh, and met with his guru, uh, Bhagavad Pada, Govind Bhagavad Pada. Um, the reason why he wanted to take up sannyasa was, to be traditionally accepted, for the traditional identification to come, of what he is, to be recognized as uh, as a sannyasi in order to complete his task, for the identification traditionally by all other masters that time existed in their own traditional ways. And thus he was accepted as student by Govinda Bhagavad Pada, and he, whatever studies he wanted to do, he did under him. And very soon, he was, as I said, he was a very brilliant student. At the age of 16, he had finished writing commentary, which are called bhashyas, on major Upanishads. In fact, those Upanishads are called major Upanishads because he wrote commentary on them. And about 10 to 12, I'm saying 10 to 12 because there is still debate on two of them, whether Bhagavan Shankaracharya only wrote Bhashya, and he wrote Bhashya on Brahma Sutra, which is the highest of all Vedantic texts from Vedas, and also Bhagavad Gita. So his masterpieces are these Bhashyas on Upanishads, Bhashya on Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. After that, he started his next major work of spreading Advaita Vedanta all across length and breadth of India, of Bharat. And at that time, actually, it is very interesting to know, was this very violent war with oppression of other religious missionaries in Europe. Whereas our Shankaracharya, by feet, he walked all parts of India. 4 times it is said he went around with peaceful, very intelligent debates to convert the existing religious leaders who were obsessed with the Purna Mimamsa of our Vedas. What is Purna Mimamsa? Purna Mimamsa is all about rituals. So that time people were bought into just rituals, action, do something, rituals. Of course, following the different strict methods of Vedas, and that is fine. But then they believed that led you to liberation, and also because they practiced only rituals, there were a lot of misunderstandings spread. Not able to people practiced a lot of superstitious beliefs, and that is why Shankaraya Bhagavan, he had to go all around, participate, invite people in these debates. Those days, debates meant if you lose in the debate, in proper debate, honest debate, they have to surrender and take up the faith. And that they did. Unlike now, maybe. Anyway, that was the next big achievement, which is called Digvijaya, because wherever he went, he won. That was his clarity of understanding and his conviction of the Advaitic principle of Vedanta. And now he went around not only spreading Vedanta, as he was traveling, he visited lot of temples, even small or big temples all over India, and taught them, corrected them where they wanted help. The priests wanted help, they did. In some places, he modified the temple and renovated, got the temple renovated, and such tremendous work was going on. As he was traveling like that, one very interesting thing happened, along with 100 other interesting things I am not mentioning. Only a very few samples I am presenting here. He met with one very grand looking old Brahmana, and he picked up debate with Adi Shankaracharya. And he, of course, in his vigor, in his usual method, he debated. And very soon Shankara himself started wondering, who is this great Mahatma? And it was Bhagavan Veda Vyasa himself, and he revealed himself to Adi Shankaracharya, blessed him where he was supposed to have only 16 years of life. He blessed him with another 32 years, and he said, continue your work. And after that, the next goal the Shankaracharya wanted to meet with this very well known that time, very popular philosopher and religious leader. His name was Kumarlila Bhatta. It so happened at that time, Kumarlila Bhatta, he wanted to, he was also, that time as I was saying, I'm sorry if I didn't mention that, not alone in Hinduism, there was a lot of confusion. Hinduism itself was in the decline because of the spread of Buddhism. Okay, so Buddhism was getting spread like fire, because it wasn't, the approach of Buddhism was very simple, and there was not much of, austerities or not much of intelligent work. I'm not criticizing Hinduism. That was what was happening at that time. And that some other set of lot of superstitions took place. And Kumarlila Bhatta was one of them who wanted to, actually have debates and convert the Buddhists. But for that, he had to learn Buddhism. So actually, he went under in the pretext of a Buddhist and tried to learn Buddhism. And when it came at one stage, even though he proved to them that our Vedas is the ultimate by a very wonderful feat, he started feeling very guilty that he actually cheated the Buddhist guru. So he was punishing himself for that. For that, he was trying to immolate himself. He was doing tapas in fire, let me put it that way. At that time, Shankara Bhagavan appeared there. Kumarlila Bhatta was extremely happy listening to Shankara Bhagavan, and he said, I'm so fortunate, before I left this, my body, I could hear, and Shankara Bhagavan enlightened him, but he said, you have to meet this scholar whose name is Mandana Mishra. And he told him where he is. He gave the location, and he said, if you could talk to him, or he is a great Purva Mimamsak who did not believe in Vedanta, who did not believe in sannyasa also. He believed only in ritualistic aspect. For that, you have to marry, you have to have wife, and so on and so forth. And without invitation, Adi Shankaracharya ji barged into his house. It so happened that time a great religious function was going on there, and it is said Bhagavan Veda Vyasa himself was there, and also the author of Purva Mimamsa, who author means a direct disciple of Veda Vyasa, who helped Veda Vyasa to, the part of Purva Mimamsa in Vedas, Jaimini Maharshi himself was there, whom Adi Shankaracharya was, he was going to talk against Purva Mimamsa. So, Jaimini, he barged into Mandana Mishra's home, which was called the House of Parrots. because in front of, they were all so much into Vedas that there were a lot of parrots in their house, and those parrots also will be constantly chanting Vedas. So Mandana Mishra's house was called House of Parrots. He went in there and making the long story very, very short, he has a debate with Mandana Mishra, and Mandana Mishra's Sahadharmani, Udaya Bharati, was the judge, because there was no better than anybody, somebody better than them should be there. So they appointed Udaya Bharati, who is supposed to have been Saraswati Devi herself. She said, I have a lot of work, I am a housewife, and therefore what I do, I have a technique. He gave two garlands. She gave two fresh, beautiful garlands to both her husband and Adi Shankaracharya, and said, you go on with the debate. Whoever wins, their flower is not going to wilt away. So it so happened that Mandana Mishra lost in the debate, and he actually became one of the most important, most devoted disciple of Adi Shankaracharya, and later came to know as Sureshwaracharya, who has actually written lot of commentaries, supporting commentaries on Shankaracharya's commentaries. So that great follower he became, and thus Adi Shankaracharya got Digvijaya. Digvijaya means all over India he traveled and won in all debates that he participated by his most intelligent, peaceful interpretation of Vedas. Okay, one thing I have to mention here. Why did he win all this? One of the thing is the Advaita Vedanta that he has spread is not his own. It is interpretation of Vedas, not missing out on anything. The problem was that the um, deep Vedantic principles and the ideas were all spread in many Upanishads and other texts available in the Vedas. What he did, he nicely stitched the different values, different principles of Vedas, and brought them into a coherent, simple, coherent system for understanding, which was in a way which was extremely profound, at the same time in very simple terms. It is named as Prasanna Gambhir. That is what Mahatmas explained. Prasanna, because the way Adi Shankaracharya presented the values and the Vedantic, Advaitic Vedantic principles was very lucid, simple, clear, at the same time Gambhir, profound. That is why even now, among the militant, very strong militant atheist groups all over the world, when our leaders speak, when our Advaitic Vedanta speak, those people have to they just keep quiet because they don't know how to take from there. Because Advaitic Vedanta is both radical and scientific at the same time. And therefore, his Shankaracharya's work through his bhashyas is not only bhashyas. Now, his bhashyas, those values and principles, Gambhir, everybody cannot understand. And therefore, he came up with a number of prakarana granthas which would explain the deepest aspects of Vedas. He would take one particular aspect and write a book on that. Another particular aspect. So Prakarana Grantha explains one or two particular aspects of Upanishad or Vedanta. And from the very, very, very highly watered down level to highest level, he has written Prakarana Granthas that we can step by step learn. And amazing work. Several Prakarana Granthas he has written. Not only that, as I said, he traveled all through India, and wherever he went, whichever deity temple he met, or whichever deity by his tapas, he wrote stotrams, beautiful stotrams. That is now very, very well known, all of us use. And like that, uh, another proof of the pudding is that all other schools of, say, after Shankaraji, uh, from his bhashyas, many schools of thoughts also came. For all existing schools of thought, Bhagavan Shankaraji's work is their benchmark. Whether in support or against Advaitic Vedanta, benchmark is his work. That is the proof of the pudding of his work. So, continuing, his tremendous work, Digvijaya, culminated in one more thing that he wanted to do was he established religious uh, religious educational systems called mutts in four corners of India: Sringeri, Dwaraka, Badri, and Puri. And everywhere he appointed his own proven disciples to take care, and he also established way of running the ashrams, way of educating, developing the acharyas of those ashrams. So they are all very well run today, and they actually represent national integration. That is how he has established. I'm not going to detail again. So I'm going to come to conclusion. With by around 32 years, the amount of work that is achieved is, as Shivaji was saying, unparalleled. No ordinary human being could have done that. And we are very, very fortunate to be in his Guru Parampara. And there is a tremendous amount. All Hindus all over the world, not only Hindus, all others, all great scientists, great philosophers, after all their research work, they really come back to Advaita Vedanta. Those who come back to Advaita Vedanta, they say that is the ultimate. They all went down. So we all owe to him tremendously. And he left his body. He took Samadhi in Kedarnath. He just walked away when nobody was looking, and he disappeared into the depths of Himalayas. That is what he said about his Samadhi. And today we will seek blessings of Adi Shankaracharya and the entire Guru Parampara, of which we are extremely fortunate to be part of. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all very much. Hari Om.